Hey, what is going on, crypto people? And I think I'm gonna get today's day of the week correct. Happy generational wealth Wednesday to each and every one of you. Holy moly. What an exciting time to be an early adopter of this new asset class. That is the digital asset space. We're going to go over the X spaces, the Twitter spaces recently with, I think it was just yesterday with Hugo Filion. Just a couple of clips from that. I got to tell you, Jay Corn, I got to tell you, Monica Long's interview, CEO of Ripple, Monica Long, that interview with, I don't know where she was, but the part about XRP versus RLUSD, yeah, not encouraging. Yeah, not encouraging at all. I'll let you guys decide. I'm gonna play it for you. It's like a minute and a half. She was asked a question. You seem, I'm paraphrasing, but I'm gonna let you guys hear the question. I'm paraphrasing. The dude was like, seems like the Ripple stablecoin's got some serious utility to it. And Ripple's excited about it. But was it XRP was supposed to be doing? Where do you see XRP falling into this new pivot for Ripple? And the answer was, for me, was a little underwhelming for me. But I'll let you guys decide. What's going on, Pookie Pookie? Pookie Pookie was first in the building. First in the building today. So we'll go over the market a little bit. I mean, 76,000, you wake up at 76, turn around is 81. Bitcoin's 76,000 in the morning, in the afternoon is 81,000. Like, it's cray cray in the streets in terms of the Bitcoin price. It's just crazy, just crazy. Get rid of this thing here. Pookie Pookie says, I didn't see that clip. Yeah, I put it on my X page and I referenced the minute mark, 5:55 to 7:37, but I'm going to play it for you guys. I don't know. Yeah, I was kind on X because I posted the entire video thanks to Crypto Eddie. I posted the entire video on my X profile, and I referenced that minute and a half. And I was kind. I used the word interesting. I used the word interesting on the post on X. But yeah, pretty underwhelming in my view. All right, let me refresh CoinGecko. I mean, we're gonna go over these numbers. You guys said you can stomach it. I'll cover these numbers. There is literally a digital asset listed on CoinGecko called Retard Finder Coin, and it is up 83%. I don't know what is the digital asset space coming to? What what is it coming to? Look, I'm not going to be on here very long. It's up to 82,000. So I refreshed it. It's up to 82. Let's share CoinGecko's news on the market. And then we'll get into a couple of clips from the pretty awesome Twitter spaces yesterday with Vet and Hugo Filion. I think the DeFi lead for Flare Networks was on there as well. This guy's name is Thanos. It was pretty interesting. Highly recommend if you're interested in leveling up, taking your risk levels down by leveling up your knowledge and skill sets. Highly recommend you check out Spaces. If you'd like the link to it, let me know. If only we could get. Okay, there it is. That to cooperate there. Let's move this down. Why isn't it not moving down? I have to move it manual, I guess. All right, so according to CoinGecko, the total cryptocurrency market cap is up 5.3% in the last 24 hours, but it's still under 3 trillion at 2.72 trillion. Bitcoin dominance is over 61%. Bitcoin is trading at $82,279. Again, on the 30-day, Bitcoin's up almost 5%. Ethereum is trading under $2,000 at $1,648. And on the 30-day, Ethereum is down 14%. What do you got? XRP is trading at $2.04 again. On the 30-day, it's down 1%. Solana is trading at $118 again. And on the 30 days, it's up nearly 1%. Those coins trading at 16 cents. And on a 30-day, it is up 1% on 30 days. Let's check out the beloved Sui. So let's see what Sui is up to. $2.25. This morning it was $1.92. I'm like, man, nice, under $2. If you're slow, you freaking you blow. If you're slow, you blow. If you're slow, you lose it. Under $2, Sui would have been nice to add to. On a 30-day, Sui is up 6%. And that is the market, fam. And it is doing what the market does. Let me welcome some more people to the stream. And we're going to cut bases, and then we're going to cover that little interview. I don't know. That little interview with Monica Long. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen that guy interviewing people from Ripple before. Yeah. Interesting is the kindest word I could kind of come up with that in terms of for XRP holders. Her response to that question. All right. So no, Pookie Pook. Jay Corn said, "Did you see the clip from the movie in 1992 called Sneakers?" Mm-mm. It cites XRP as a federal payment system in 1992. In 1992. That's interesting. We'll have to check that out. 1992. Guys, do me a favor, hit the like button on the way in. So Flare CEO, Flare Network CEO, Flare Labs, I guess CEO and co-founder of Flare Networks, had a very, very interesting interview with Vet. We tuned into that live yesterday during our live stream. He had some very interesting points and things to say. I find what he had to say about Ripple acquiring Hidden Road to be fascinating. The words that he used, I believe I have it in this clip that I have shared. But it was a very enlightening. It was about XRP staking, and it was very and how they plan on doing it and what this is going to look like. So again, if you want to decrease your risk of being in the digital asset space by leveling up your knowledge and your skill sets around DeFi and other things, if you're interested in that, I'd highly recommend you check out that interview. Jay Corn says, I heard about that interview today for the first time, and it's got me shaking. Yeah, yeah. Oh, which interview are you talking about, Jay Corn? I think you're talking about. Are you talking about Monica Long? Okay, you guys must be talking amongst yourselves about the 1992 thing. I think that's what you're talking about. What's going on, brother Crypto? How are you, bro? Keela says hi, driving but listening. Hey, Keyless, be careful on those roads, miss. Be careful on those roads. Appreciate you checking in for sure. So, a 1992 clip saying XRP in a movie from 1992. This is what's going on in the chat, fam. In case you're wondering, in the chat of the live stream right now. Let me see something. Apparently, there's a movie from 1992, and it talks about XRP and the federal payment system. Let's check that out if we can. I don't know what's going on with my stream. Yeah, you're talking about the movie from 92. All right. So let me see if I can find it. I feel like I hear people talking. Let's see if we can't find that. I'm closing some tabs because I got like a mini computer. All right. We'll leave Monica alone. So, well, we can close it out and then find it later. Oh, no, we'll leave it up. We'll leave it up. All right. Let me see something. 1992 movie, says Jay Corn. That seems, no, that's my live stream. Okay. It didn't come up. In that clip, Jay Corn says the scientists decipher the code, and line 2 of the federal payment system says XRP. I put that clip in the chat, and I can do it again if you want, but it's 3/4 of the way through when they decipher the code, and it's clearly on the screen. Yeah, I tried to open it up, but it didn't. It did not open up. Let me see something here. Site can't be reached. That's interesting. Well, let me see if it's going to show up here. 3/4 of the way through. Can you find the minute mark and stuff for us? That would be nice. But in any case, what do I want to go over? Let's go over that Flare Networks interview with Hugo. Yeah, it's not coming up. It's not coming up. While we're waiting for that to load. Yeah, if you could find us like the minute mark and stuff on that, that would be nice. It's 6 minutes here in this video, looks like. All right, let me find this Flare Network stuff. Hugo has some interesting stuff to say about the XRP staking and how Flare Networks is going to be doing this XRP staking. I would think that XRP holders would be interested in learning more about it. Again, for me, the foundational context premise of that interview felt more like we don't believe you can do XRP staking. That's what it felt like to me. But all right, so staking 101 with Hugo, what staking is and what it isn't. Most importantly, how we've defined at Flare Networks staking. To us, XRP staking is a system allowing blockchain applications to leverage XRP to safeguard their operation using Flare's protocol. This is the movie. Sneakers, no more secrets. Oh, that movie Sneakers. Okay. All right. Let me know what the minute mark is, Jay Corn, and we will share that. So let me get back here. Lexus LS 600. Lexus has always got a new car coming out. All right, laptop. Anytime now, man. I mean, anytime. All right. So to us, XRP staking is a system allowing blockchain apps to leverage XRP to safeguard their operation using Flare's protocols. Okay. Let's take a listen. I mean, kind of gives for those in the back who don't understand what staking truly is.
Staking is what is staking? So for people that they know what is staking. Absolutely. Well, look, I think there's a lot of conflation of the term staking in the XRP community with things that are not, really staking. So, for instance, putting your money into an AMM is not staking. It is being a liquidity provider. Putting your money into a thing that calls itself staking, but is actually where they use your XRP to take trades on centralized exchanges is not staking.
No, it's not.
That is potentially investing in some kind of unregulated fund.
By the way, in my view, he's talking about what Doppler Finance is doing with people's XRP that they have been overwhelmed with in terms of people depositing XRP over their Doppler Finance. To me, that's what he's speaking to.
And I think there's like, if I've looked at most of the projects, many of them are misusing the term staking. Staking is sort of fundamentally how a proof of stake network is secured. So
that is exactly what staking is. Staking is how a proof of stake chain or network is securing the network. Staking Ethereum is helping in securing the network. When you stake your ETH, that's what you're doing.
Okay, so P-Ledger, the way it is kind of secured is it uses a UNL, unique node list, right? And you have these overlaps of the UNL, and this basically forms the network topology, and that is how consensus occurs within the XRP. On Bitcoin, you have nodes, but you also have miners, and miners expend energy in order to collectively confirm a transaction. In a proof of stake network, you have a validator, and a validator stakes to their own validator. This is called self-form. And then other people can also stake to that validator. It's called delegated stake. And specifically, ultimately, the validator's power is determined by how much stake they have between their own stake and the stake that is delegated towards. So if there's 1,000 validators and they each have a certain amount of stake, that dictates their power in sending messages around in the network that then ultimately come to consensus.
So that was Hugo in the X Spaces with Vet hosted. Hugo was there, a guy named Thanos, which I believe is the DeFi lead at Flare Networks. I believe he's the DeFi lead at Flare Networks. His name is Thanos. I've seen him on X before posting some stuff. I'm telling you, the interview, it was about an hour. It was nice. It wasn't really an interview. It was kind of a back and forth discussion. Most of the stuff questions came from, or points came from Vet, and then Hugo addressed those. And Thanos chimed in to kind of, add some more, add to anything Hugo might say. So it was really, really good. It's really, really informative. Again, if you're interested in, de-risking yourself, I would highly recommend that you check out that interview so you can level up your knowledge about what it is XRP staking is, where the yield comes from, et cetera, and then that'll help you obviously in gaining more skill sets when it comes to doing something with your XRP. So there was that. Let me see here. I can get rid of that one. Here's the link to the full recording. I'm going to share this with you guys. So you'll have it. It went by so fast. They didn't take any questions from community questions. So there's the link. Leo Messi's in the building. What's going on, bro? Brother Crypto says, I'm old enough where I have seen that movie Sneakers about 3 times. Pookie says Hugo's a smart dude. I believe it. I believe he is. I went out of the chat, it says Jcorn, and found the clip, and just after the 2 minute mark, when they are deciphering the code, it shows the screen. Okay, we'll look into that. We're gonna check that out. So, right after the 2 minute mark of this movie Sneakers, they're deciphering a code. Just to give you some background, and XRP apparently is uh, shown in terms of the Federal Reserve System. That would be cray cray. All right, we're gonna look at that together. Let me find the other clip from Flare Networks. Then we're gonna go over that interview. Um, mm, that is about the AI on Flare Networks. All right, so uh, yesterday, Jcorn, I pointed out. I pointed out at the end of this interview, Hugo used a term or phrase in reference to Ripple's acquisition of Hidden Road. I believe he used the phrase interesting and amusing to me. Interesting and amusing. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So Flair put this out and we're going to let you listen to it. Ripple buying a prime broker is exciting. You know what could also be cool? A decentralized prime broker on Flare. Imagine using protocol managed wallets to custody assets, safe compute powered by trusted execution environments to assess risk and prevent exploits. Flare 2.0 is unlocking limitless possibilities. All right. So anyway, this is at the end here, I believe, but of that X Spaces.
Suddenly apply zero missing in.
Oh, they cut it out. Oh, they cut out the part where I'm going to tell you what Hugo said before what is missing in DeFi, because I wrote it down. I wrote it down. Hugo said, in reference to the Ripple acquiring prime broker Hidden Roads, he said that that's interesting and amusing to me. What is missing in DeFi? What is missing in DeFi in the space? And he said decentralized prime brokerage. It would be cool if it was a protocol. Okay. So we don't get to hear it. It's interesting and amusing to me, but that's what Hugo said. It's interesting and amusing. But we do have the whole Twitter Spaces. We can share that last part. I believe it was like the last minute or two. But anyway, let's get back. Take a listen. DeFi needs decentralized prime brokerage. DeFi needs decentralized prime brokerage.
Missing in DeFi? What is missing in the space? And one of the things that is really missing is a decentralized prime brokerage function. One of the things prime brokers do is they extend margin to traders against their existing position. So you might have a large amount of Tesla stock, and you might go to your prime broker and say, hey, I really want to buy, I don't know, IBM. Not sure why you would, but whatever. I need to borrow against Tesla stock. Prime broker will assess the risk of the Tesla stock and lend you some margin and set margin levels where you get liquidated and all this kind of stuff. And this doesn't exist as a primitive protocol, as a decentralized protocol. It obviously is a huge thing in traditional finance, and that's what Ripple purchased. They purchased a traditional finance prime broker. But it'd be kind of cool if it was a protocol, but it can't be a protocol today. First thing you need for it to be a protocol is protocol managed wallets. The second thing you need is vast compute. You need vast compute because you need to be able to assess the risk of the various different assets that people would be willing to essentially extend margin to. Well, but you also need that compute such that if you're offering this as a product in a decentralized way, someone can't come in and change that compute and suddenly apply zero risk to fart coin, enabling a large amount of money to be lent to people that want to take fart coin positions when it should only be less than 1% of that money that should be lent to people who want to take fart coin positions. So the question is, how do you get a very large amount of compute, but make it safe so that it can't be altered? And this is where we're going with TEs. So we're building protocol managed wallets so that it can hold assets. And we're going with TEs in the direction of, I want to be able to run really complex models, really complex risk models, really heavy compute, applications. And I want to be able to do this in a way that you can't be rugged. And so this then, join those two things together, safe compute and protocol managed wallets, then you can build a totally decentralized prime broker. And that's kind of really interesting.
Yeah, I agree with Hugo. He said if you want to take risk on fart coin, which is a real coin, by the way, it's a meme coin with a little bit of an AI, to it, but it is a meme coin. Yeah. So, there's that. But Hugo saying that I thought was funny. So he's essentially saying, cool, Ripple bought a TradFi company, but which is a centralized entity that is quote unquote having to be trusted. Brad Garlinghouse in his post about this acquisition used the phrase that Hidden Road was the trusted intermediary. What I suggest to you is I thought the digital asset space was about not having to trust a trustless system, right? Some people use the phrase decentralized. And what Hugo said, what we're building out allows for a trustless, right, prime brokerage, a protocol with protocol managed wallets, where and in essence, your assets are always your assets. The TEs help you to assess the risk of blah 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 blah. Right? But without having this trusted intermediary, as Brad Garlinghouse stated. Hugo also went on to say that you can't build it right now. You have to have a certain level of compute. You need the TEEs and you need the protocol managed wallets as well. And that's what Layer is working on. And they're about 2/3 of the way through. I think it's just they're working now on getting that measure, which is a large measure of compute. Marcel Hardy is in the building. What's going on, Marcel? Marcel says, bro, what's going on with Doppler Finance? Whatever do you mean, bro? What is going on with Doppler Finance? What is going on with Doppler? Guys, link to the X Spaces with Vet. Great points Vet brought up. Again, my thing is, my sense of it was you can't really do XRP staking because you can't do it on XRPL. How are you, Hugo, and Flare Networks able to allow people to stake their XRP? It's kind of how I'm seeing it. The page is unresponsive. Which page, Marcel? The Doppler Finance website or the Doppler Finance X page on Twitter? You said yes. So which one, bro? The website or the X page? Marcel. So again, if you want to level up and de-risk yourself and your XRP, yeah, that's a good space to listen to, for sure. Finance. I went to set up my wallet. Oh, so the website. It's not responsive. I don't know. I haven't been to it. I never did deposit any XRP there. I don't like the intermediaries involved. So I didn't do it, but yeah, I didn't do anything there. Something about that whole setup seems a little um unsafe. I did 189 XRP there. I hear you, bro. I hear you. 189. I hear you, brother. Uh, Vishal Umadas, is Songbird any good? By any good, what do you mean, bro? You talking about the token? You talking about what are you talking about there? Vishal. What are you talking about? Vishal. Appreciate you checking in. What do you mean by is Songbird any good? You talking about the network? Oh, the price. Well, what is the price of Songbird token? What is the current price? I'm not interested in the price so much as I'm interested in the value and the protocol. But what is the price for Shao? It's rock bottom, 0.004. Got it. Ah, so you're talking about the market, not necessarily Songbird, right? Not necessarily one token out of the entire asset class. The market, right, is doing what the market does. We're not full bull run yet. We don't have the liquidity. The total net liquidity and the global M2 liquidity has not gotten to the place that it needs to get to yet. So risk assets aren't where they need to go yet. My opinion, what I would definitely recommend for most people is to check out realvision.com and join for free. Get the debrief from Raul Paul and Julian Patel on the bigger global macro picture, which affects the business cycle, which affects the digital asset space and crypto. Yeah, yeah. Well, did you know what's going to happen with F assets on Songbird Vishal? Do you know what's going to happen to the F asset for FXRP on Songbird? Do you know? Rick Cisneros is in the building. What's going on, brother? Rick says, CJ, no financial advice, but all the companies are new. So if you want to play with Doppler or any of them, just start small. Start small until they have billion in TVL. That's a great point. I use the phrase, 1-2%. I use right. I use that phrase, 1-2% if you're going to be doing something with your XRP over there, right? Because you got to assess the risk, right? That's why I always use the phrase $50 with people, right? Right? You can do $20 to see what's good. So the F asset protocol, FXRP V1.1, is going to originally it was going to test on Songbird Vishal and go to Flare's mainnet. But now, not only is it going to test on Songbird, V1.1 is going to stay and be a protocol on Songbird, which I think is awesome because now there's an active protocol. There will be an active protocol on Songbird. So for Songbird holders, an active protocol on Songbird where you can mint FXRP, and the collateral to do so will be Songbird. So I think that was very, very smart of Flare, and I don't know, generous. I don't know what the word to be, but yeah. And so I think that is awesome, awesome, and I think ultimately, um, version 2 of FXRP is going to be on Flare eventually. and it's going to help. It's going to allow for Bitcoin minting and Doge minting as well. But I guess my point is there is going to be an active protocol, whether it's FXRP 1.0 or 1.1. I get them confused, but it will be on Songbird as an active protocol. And Songbird needs more active protocols, people being able to do things on Songbird, right? It's a canary network where it's the prowess is obviously you can test stuff, but it is real money. It's a live protocol, very, very similar to Polkadot's Kusama network. So to me, as a Songbird holder, that was great news that there's going to be this protocol on Songbird where people can mint FXRP there if they want to do so, because the collateral that they have is Songbird. They might not have FLR. They may only have Songbird. So now there's this active protocol that people can use to mint the FXRP over there and use Songbird and whatever the F assets allow you to do with collateral on Songbird. So I think that's awesome. Move Accordingly is in the building. What's going on? Says hope all well as well. What's going on, CJ? Life is great, bro. Yeah, I hear you for sure. If we ever get to those Kusama numbers, I know that's the potential, I think. Somebody asked me about Doppler. Oh, yes, Marcel said. So what's your opinion on Doppler? For me, it feels like a rush to market product to take advantage of, not take advantage, but to leverage the XRP community and its liquidity. That's what it feels like to me. Um, um, I don't like the intermediaries there, but it's early days. Maybe it's going to evolve into something. So the product as it is now, I don't like it because of the intermediaries involved in it. Uh, um, uh, it feels too much like Celsius to me, so I don't like that. And so I did not participate, and I won't be participating, and until and unless it gets more of figuring out ways to be less intermediary heavy. So that's kind of how I see it. So share those two clips about Hugo and Flare Networks. I shared the link for the full interview and back and forth discussion with Hugo and Vet and Thanos about XRP staking. Again, if you want to de-risk yourself from being a risky investor, you want to check that out so that you level up your knowledge and your skill set, right? I know Rick is just laughing. He's laughing. He's smiling in the background. Marcel, thank you, my friend. And you are more than welcome. I appreciate the super chat, brother. So, two things there. Let's before we get into Jay Corn's video, move accordingly. Jay Corn is saying there's a video out there talking about XRP in the Federal Reserve System from 1992. So we're gonna check that out. But let's check out, there was an interview, the big word on the street is Ripple just acquired this massive prime broker, right? This non-bank prime broker, $3 trillion in transactions yearly. 3 trillion. Ripple has acquired them for 1.25 billion. Monica Long got to announce it, I guess, publicly on it. She was out there doing some interviewing stuff. And the interviewer is asking her, what's all going on with Ripple and you guys, the custody and tokenization, RWAs. I feel like this dude is like some partner media thing for Ripple. That's what it feels like, because I've seen it before. But he asked this question about, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm going to let you guys hear the question. But it sounded like he was saying, it seems like you got a lot of things going on. You're really pushing the stable coin. You're really kind of pushing this RLUSD for this and cross border. And you're talking about collateral and all those other things. And, wasn't that what XRP was supposed to be? I'm paraphrasing. And her answer, I'm telling you, Rick says Narrows, I don't know. I was not impressed with this answer, but I'll let you guys take a listen to the question and Monica Long's answer. Tell me what you think. All right. So I'm going to go back just a little bit so we can make sure we get his full question here. All right, let's go back here. All right, let's take a listen.
In terms of cross-border transactions, to make that faster and quicker and for the liquidity, etc. So why can't you just do that with the?
Okay, let me go back here.
It was XRP that was used or used in some of your products in terms of cross-border transactions to make that faster and quicker and for the liquidity, etc. So why can't you just do that with the RUSD rather than requiring XRP at all?
Yeah. So we've always been believers in a multi-chain, multi-token future. And so we think that different tokens and different chains, for that matter, are useful at different times for different use cases. Let's take XRP first. XRP is the native asset to the public blockchain, the XRP ledger. So inherently it has a use case in terms of gas fees, as well as, for reserve accounts. So that will always.
I don't know, man. And she's going to say some other stuff here, but she says it's the native asset. And obviously, so it's like the gas token. And obviously, the reserves for opening up an XRP wallet, right? Right. You gotta have a reserve, right? That's the whole preventing bots and all this other kind of stuff on the XRPL. And that's the use case. It's that's the use case for XRP from what they're seeing. And we've always saw a multi-token and multi-chain world. Anyway, I'm gonna let you guys. I don't know. It just feels like she's reaching for something, and this is exactly what I said, Jay Corn, in my live stream yesterday. That it just feels like to me, Ripple wants to figure out some utility and use cases for XRP, but they just can't seem to figure it out. That's what it feels like to me. And by the way, they still use XRP, she says, in ODL.
Be there, the more that the ledger is used by more developers, more end users, you see demand for that token going up.
But the developers aren't there, right? We got the data to show it. They're not there. They may be coming, but they ain't there. Not enough programmability, and the programmability is coming, but it ain't there. I guess my whole point to this whole thing here is she is struggling with that question. And like I said in my live stream yesterday, Ripple wants use cases for XRP, but they seem to can't figure it out. And I think the answer is just right there. It's DeFi on the ledger. DeFi on the ledger that focuses on retail, not institutions. I don't see why XP Markets and Magnetic X are the number one and number two LP providers on the XRPL. XP Markets, which is kind of like NFTs and some other stuff. Magnetic X is a UI UX for DEX and some other stuff. Why are they the two biggest liquidity providers on the XRPL? for the liquidity pair XRP and RLUSD. Why? If Ripple Labs can come up with $1.25 billion to buy a TradFi product, they don't have 10, 20, 40, 50 million for a liquidity incentive event to incentivize people to come onto the XRP out and in liquidity pairs like XRP, RLUSD, and others. Anyway, I'll let you guys continue listening.
In addition, a really novel thing about XRP was, as the ledger was created, it had a decentralized exchange built into it. And so trades within that decentralized exchange that don't have immediate liquidity between them auto bridge through XRP. So this is where we've talked about it as a real bridge asset. And even beyond the Ripple payments use cases, so within our payments product, by the way, we still do use XRP as well as stable coins. And it kind of depends on the customer's use case and what's most efficient. I will say, yes, we see a lot of growth within stable coins for our payments product this year. But, as more types of developers build products, either within the XRP ledger ecosystem or other chains, this DEX feature and using XRP for liquidity will be a bigger and bigger use case.
So we've spoken about Hidden Road, the stable.
That, again, that's a pretty underwhelming answer from the CEO of Ripple. And one of the reasons why it's pretty underwhelming is Brad Garlinghouse has said anyone who thinks that Ripple is somehow where XRP is not front and center for us at Ripple, paraphrasing, has lost their way. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm off a little bit, Rick or Marcel, Vishal. Maybe I'm off a little bit. But it just felt like she was struggling to come up with something to say about XRP's use case. What say you? Let me know in the comments what you think. But that's what it felt like to me. Jay Korn. Felt like she was struggling. That's what it felt like. What's going on, the real big Will? What say you? What do you guys think about that? Felt like she was struggling to me. I don't know. I mean, she literally said the reserves, the reserves. So in order to get an XRP wallet, you got to have 10 XRP. Like, that was one of the use cases for XRP. Yeah, not great. Not great to me. I don't know. Not great to me. What say you about that? Move accordingly. The real big Will says, "Oh no, CJ, she is hiding something. LOL. Go back and watch her eyes. She's struggling not to let the cat out of the bag." Okay, that's an interesting perspective. Okay, I could roll with that. I could roll with that. Jay Korn says, by the way, in that clip on line 2 of the page, you'll see, look towards the right, and you will see XRP. Yeah, we're gonna check that out together, bro. So anyway, that was kind of my deal to that response from I posted the full video on X, and I just used, for XRP holders, minute 555 to minute 737 is, dare I say, interesting. Because that's kind of how I saw it, man. Kind of how I saw it. I don't know. I mean, the reserve wallets, the 10 XRP reserves, what used to be 20, that's that's your proof of XRP needing to be used. I'll say it again. I said it once. I said it 1,000 times, the real big Will. Hey, Ripple. Hey, David Schwartz. When? Liquidity incentive event. When is that going to happen for XRP and this Ripple dollar stablecoin? When you going? Why is XP Markets and Magnetic X the number one, number two providers of liquidity in the liquidity pair, XRP and the Ripple dollar stablecoin? Why? You just spent $1.25 billion for a non-crypto company. They're not a crypto company. So you just spent 1.25 billion. Do you have 50 million for a liquidity December event? Doppler Finance, Orchestra Finance, Anodos, Moy Finance. You know, they would be interested in some XRPA, RLUSD liquidity incentive events. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, look, you just saved yourself $75 million in the SEC versus Ripple case. You just saved yourself $75 million. You got some spare change. You got some spare change. I know you're struggling to come up with some use cases. There's one right there. Liquidity pools in DeFi on the XRPL. And the liquidity pair, XRP RLUSD, to start with. Maybe there's some other ones. You get ready to hook up with Axelar, which means you'll be able to do some XRP Bitcoin liquidity pairs as well. Because of in the Cosmos ecosystem, I forget the name of the platform, that allows you to do some staking of Bitcoin over there in the Cosmos SDK. I forget the name of the platform that does it. So that's why I asked the question, the real big Will. When liquidity incentives event? I hope people keep posting this that I'm asking this and tag me, tag Schwartz and tell him I'm asking. Tag Brad Garlinghouse because he says Ripple hasn't lost its, I don't know, focus, drive, dedication, commitment to the XRP, the asset XRP. Anyone who thinks so has lost the plot. Okay, Brad, when liquidity incentive event? Because as I see it as of today, there is no demand in comparison to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Sawi. There is no demand for the asset XRP on the XRPL. It's not there. It's not there. It's early days for Hidden Road. I'm not sure what it's going to look like, what they're going to do there with this portion of their transactions going on to the XRPL. I don't know what that's going to look like, but here's what I do know. Volume does not equate to demand for the native asset. Because everyone knows you can do a lot of things with just a couple XRP. You could do a lot of, in terms of the amount of a transaction. With just one XRP, you can move a lot in volume. You can move tens of millions of dollars. But if you got a liquidity pair of XRP and RLUSD, you know, just having a couple XRP ain't, it's not going to do a whole lot. In other words, In my view, there's more demand for XRP in the liquidity pair than it is with some prime broker hopping on the XRPL. It's how I see it. So I mean, get the technical people out on the live stream. Get Vet and Schwartz and Crippen Ryder and Matt Hamilton and my guy from XD Protocol, X DeFi Protocol, what's his name? Santiago Velez. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know. But I feel like, and she says, developers, when developers come, yeah, that's right. That's down the line. Although there are 3 healthy projects, Doppler, for example, Moy Finance for sure, Orchestra Finance, Anidos Finance. They're here. They're here. I don't see any liquidity incentive event involving those projects. Right. For me, the low hanging fruit for crypto. Let me say this. The low hanging fruit for crypto activity is for or from people already in crypto who are active. So if you want activity and you want it to be crypto activity on the XRPL, why not hang out with the people in crypto actively? Or should I say actively in crypto? Well, I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand. It's what we call in business the low hanging fruit. It's just right there. Instead, we got courses on how the automated market maker works. What is auto bridging? I don't understand, man. People want to know about a liquidity pair, right? They want to know liquidity pair. They want to know a little APR yield from it. They want to know what are they earning from providing liquidity and liquidity pool. Do they want to know or become more comfortable with the concept of impermanent loss and opportunity cost? Sure. But why do we need to know that 1, 2, 3s and ABCs of the automated market maker? Why? Why do we need to know that? I'm trying to understand. This all just Ripple keeps putting this kind of stuff out. Why? Why do we need to know that? We need to know about the benefits of DeFi, becoming your own bank, strategies around leveraging the liquidity pools, the value of assets. What is lending and borrowing, how it works? What are the benefits of being a lender and a borrower? What are some strategies around that? Creating cash flow so that you don't have to be dependent upon when moon, where you can make hundreds to tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. Bear or bull market. That's what people want. They want to know how to do that so that they can back themselves out of these meme coins, right? So they can back out of these meme coins because they think meme coins is the only win moon opportunity for them, because you got to wait every 4 years for a bull run, and then you got to wait for the bull run of the bull run. We're in a bull run right now. Does it feel like it? Joe Buddy's in the building. Somebody said this. Secretary Bessent said this. We will take a close look at regulatory impediments to blockchain, stablecoins, and new payment systems. Yeah, of course. Could be the XRPL, sure. Look, the XRPL, I mean, it is going to be a massive part of the new financial system. That's why it was built. But it doesn't mean that it's going to create demand for the asset. It doesn't mean it. They're two different things. Unless you want to say, well, Hidden Road, 300 plus institutions. I mean, that's 300 times 10 XRP. They all got to have a wallet. I get it. You're going to be burning a lot. I get it. Look, 3 trillion, we're going to get up to some point to 3 trillion. What if they only do 1, 2 transactions? How much XRP is being burned then? 300 institutions do 5 transactions each. How much XRP is being burned? How often are they doing transactions? How much is being burned? My question, I guess, underneath all of that is, where is the demand for the asset coming? Where is it coming from? Maybe my guy Rick Cisneros says, maybe Hidden Road sets up some liquidity pools on the XRPL. maybe some of their partners and our institutions, these market makers, maybe they create some liquidity pools. Awesome. Awesome. Let's get it done. Because that's where I see demand right now. In DeFi, in liquidity pairs. That's what I see. I don't see anywhere else. Because I'm certain that I heard someone say that, 1 XRP, you can do millions of dollars in a transaction with just the 1 XRP. Tens of millions. So demand for the asset. The adoption of the blockchain is coming with programmability. But programmability is not here. In other words, the demand for the asset of XRP is not here in comparison to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Sui. They have greater demand for the asset of the native asset of their chains. It's the bottom line. And I'll ask it again. When are we going to see the Camino finance of the XRPL? When are we going to see the XDeFi protocol of the XRPL? When are we going to see the margin fi of the XRPL? When are we going to see the marinade finance of the XRPL? The drift protocol of the XRPL? When are we going to see that? When you get the programmability. And it's coming. And hopefully it'll be enough programmability to allow for a Camino finance of the XRPL, where you can lend and you can borrow, you can enter into liquidity pools, and you can do strategies around using the native asset XRP, just like you can do with Solana on Camino Finance. It's all coming, hopefully. All right, so let's take a listen to this video. Our guy Jay Korn is saying some interesting stuff about XRP and the Federal Reserve. This is from a movie from 1992. Joe Buddy says, I'm ribbing on ETH. Yeah. Ethereum, I don't know. I just feel like it's been in trouble for a minute. All right, minute 2. All right, so we're gonna go just before minute 2. I keep getting these new Lexuses in my feed. I don't need another Lexus right now, my friends. All right, let's see. Just before minute 2, we're gonna see this. We're gonna see where this XRP pops up, man. They're deciphering some stuff there. I see that. Let's go to minute 50. All right, I'm gonna go to minute 50. Context: they're deciphering a code somewhere along this, after this minute and 50 seconds, we're going to see XRP Federal Reserve System or something like that. All right, let's let's take a look at this and see what's going on, Jay Corn. That's not right. I just went to minute 50. What happened? She's one of my favorite actresses. All right, let's go right here. All right, let's do it.
No.
Oh man. Rudy's rat semen? Oh, hold on a second. I'm not sharing. What the I'm not sharing. You do. You guys are like CJ, his knucklehead. All right, let me share. Let me start this again. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm gonna make this screen bigger. I don't see anything yet. Let's see.
Another quadrant. Fish, I think you better come over here. Carl, you got your little black book? Yes. Give me the number for something impossible to access. What about?
Hold on. Let me check with Pookie. Let me check with Jay Corn. All right, Jay Corn. Did we pass it? Says keep going, wait for it. So we haven't passed it yet, Jay Corn, right? I can't believe there's so many good actors in that movie. We haven't passed it yet, right, Jay Corn? Guys, do me a favor and hit that like button on the way in. That'd be awesome, awesome, awesome. We always like to have just as many likes as we got viewers in the stream. Keep going, Siege. It's right after this. Okay. So, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. If you didn't do so on the way in, no worries. Just collapse the chat real quick. Go smash the like button. Then come back and hang out with the Crypto Siege and family. Uh, says this. That is correct. You will know it when you see it. Says Jake Horn. Okay. All right, let's go back. Where is the movie at? That's not the movie. Here it is. All right.
This Federal Reserve transfer note called Pepper, Virginia. Not sure there's a lot. 900 billion a day go through there. That'll do. Punch it in. It won't go in. It's encrypted. Eight.
Probably the last contact.
Federal Reserve transfer node, remote systems, interfunds transfer. Oh, I see it right there. Okay. I see it right here. Line item number 2. I see it right there. This is Federal Reserve transfer node. International Telelink access. Code says XRP right there. So there it is. Jake Warren was right. There it is. There it is. There it is. It's interesting. There it is, family. There it is.
Anybody want to shut down the Federal Reserve? Hey, don't screw around with that thing. Carl, what else you got? National Power Grid.
Okay. I think that's it. There it is. There's the XRP Federal Reserve in a movie from 1992. There it is. Thank you for sharing that, Jake Horn. There it is. There it was. Guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. It'd be super awesome, cool. Again, I'm going to put the link to the interview back and forth with the vet from the XRPL community and the CEO from Flare Networks, Hugo Filion. What I want here. Again, if you want to help to de-risk yourself from staking your XRP, I highly encourage you to watch this video. I mean, watch this, listen to this recording on X Spaces. Oh, you're welcome, Jay Corn, of course. But you saw the XRP there, line item number 2. Interlink. So there's that Twitter Spaces. Highly recommend you guys check that out. Really, really great job. Hugo is sharing how the XRP staking is working, how they're going to be doing it. I think there was something that I wanted to share with you about the AVS system right here. What are AVS and how can they help you earn yield on your XRP? AVS stands for Actively Validated Services. Blockchains, apps, or services that rely on external validators for security. Instead of creating their own validator networks, they leverage shared security provided by stakers like those staking XRP on Flare Networks. So what's in it for you? Yield. With Flare's upcoming XRP staking system, built by a trusted institutional partner and powered by FSX and protocol managed wallets, XRP holders can stake their XRP to secure these AVSs. You're not lending your XRP. You're not providing liquidity. You're delegating it to help power and protect real services. That is just about the best post from Flare Networks that I've seen year to date. Don't talk to me and freaking developer talk. I don't speak developer. What is it? CC plus and Rust and all that stuff. You're delegating it to help power and protect real services. In return, these AVSs, these actively validated services, pay for that security. We teach in our Patreon all the time that DeFi is a business and you are providing service. And these protocols pay you for providing services in the form of yield and other incentives. In return, these ABS pay for that security, often with their native token or another crypto. And that becomes your staking yield. It's really simple. It's really easy. You can get into liquidity pairs of two different assets, but the rewards that you're getting come from the protocols token. Happens all the time in DeFi, all of the time. You have to assess if it's worth it. And liquidity pairs for staking, to me, that is significantly less risk than entering in a liquidity pool. Significantly less. The rewards are probably going to be significantly less. But a lot of people, they want to do this thing safely. A little 5%, 7%. Cool. Nothing wrong with that. I like the 3% a month. I like the 2-3% a month. To me, it's worth the risk. And I understand that the riskiest entity in DeFi is the DeFi person. That's the riskiest person. It's the DeFi person. It's not the protocol. It's not the code. It's not the person trying to hack into the code. It's you. You're the biggest risk. The great news is you can change all that. You can change all that. That's the great news. In return, these ABS pay for that security, often with their native token or another crypto, and that becomes your staking yield. ABS 101. What are they, and how do they earn you yield on XRP? Someone had an example, apparently, Dan Rocky. Understanding staking on XRP and Flare networks, a ABS example, utilizing XRP staking on Flare to secure their services. Let me create a practical example of how an actively validated service might use Flare for staking platform with XRP. Okay. Cross-chain guard, for example, is an ABS that secures cross-chain token transfers between XRP ledger and various layer 1 blockchains. Here's how it would work. Cross-chain guard operates a decentralized bridge protocol on Flare. It utilizes XRP tokens staked by users through Flare's staking platform. The staked XRP serves as security collateral against potential bridge exploits. Operational mechanics, validated networks, slashing conditions, yield distribution, awesome. Benefit, real world protection. This system would safeguard against common bridge attacks by making attacks economically irrational because it costs more than the potential gain. Using Flare's time series oracle for accurate cross-chain price verification. Implementing graduated withdrawal periods based on the transfer size. Benefits to the holders. Productive use of XRP holdings with competitive yields. Supporting an ecosystem growth between the ledger, XRP ledger, and other blockchains. Risk-adjusted returns based on validated performance. The example shows how Flare's staking platform enables XRP holders to contribute to blockchain security while earning returns. Remember, when you stake your ETH, you're providing a service to help secure the network. That's what you're doing. And it's being done, by the way, to the tunes of billions of dollars. Billions of dollars of ETH is staked. Billions. The institutions love the concept of staking their ETH, of providing a service to get some yield. They love it. Just going to tell you flat out. They love it. So it's a real deal, and it's a real business, and it's a real use case. XRP doesn't have it. It could have it though. And it could get to the billions, just like Ethereum. The institutions, guess what they got? They have a measure of de-risk about them. They level up their knowledge and their skill sets. So they understand what Ethereum staking is. What is Lido finance? What is EigenLayer? How do they operate? Why do they operate? Who's running them? Why should I stake my ETH with them or restake with EigenLayer? Or stake the stake with EigenLayer? You understand? And what's the reward I'm getting for doing it? Am I getting ETH or am I getting Lido tokens? That's a pretty good example. Pretty good example. All right, fam. There it is. I wanted to share that with you guys. We appreciate you guys checking in. We love you guys. Look, and we're always being honest with you on important points, straightforward with you on important points. Because what I see in the XRP community is a lot of fear around stuff. They're always, running to risk and running to impermanent loss, running the risk and running to impermanent loss. And where does the yield come from? Blair's up 40%, 41%. Goodness gracious, I must have missed it then. Where's it back? Up to 2 cents now, Pookie? I must have missed it. Slow you blow. What is it up to again? Is it up to 2 cents? 0.15. It's up 40%. Are you sure? Oh, wow. It screamed up to 0.16. It was at 0.11 today? Goodness gracious. It is up 37, 38%, isn't it? It's crazy. So, right, it's, again, the risk is in the investor. The risk is in the DeFi person. The risk is in us. If we level up our knowledge and we level up our skill sets, right, then you just got the, you can take your risk down from 100% to 90 to 5%, right? Because 95% of it is going to be us. And we're in control of that. We're in control. Isn't that awesome? We're in control of that. All right, fam. There it is. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate each and every one of you. Pookie, and Vishal, appreciate you checking in, my friends. The Real Big Will and J-Coin, I appreciate you guys checking in today. It's been a really cool hang. Rick Cisneros and Joe Buddy, appreciate you guys being here today. Marcel, my guy, thanks again for the super chat. Move accordingly. Thank you for hanging out today, bro. Appreciate that. As always, did I miss anyone? I don't think. Leo Messi, thanks for hanging out today, bro. Appreciate you. Brother Crypto checked in. Appreciate you being here today. Alex Eat, I miss you checking in, bro. Appreciate you being here. It's been a minute. Hope you're well, my guy. All right, fam, listen. I'm going to end this live stream like I do all my live streams and remind you guys of this. Oh, by the way, don't do me a favor and hit that like button on the way out if you didn't get a chance to do so on the way in. That would be really, really cool. We always like to have just as many likes as we have viewers in the stream. It helps to get the channel and the video out to more people because we're on a mad dash to get to 9,000 subs this month. And I know we can get there, especially with your help. So if you happen to be in that 55% or so of people that are hanging out, listening to and watching the Crypto Siege, do me a favor. If you've been enjoying those hangouts, please consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to ring that notification bell, baby, so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this or perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.